Today, the discussion is going to be based around what young people really define success for them. And on the stage, I want to invite our friends who've traveled all the way across. To begin with, I want to invite Miss Ashwini. Ashwini is a fitness trainer at Powerworld Fitness. If you can kindly come on stage, ma'am, please. Can you give a round of applause? From the industry, I'd like to invite Mayang Bateja, who is the co-founder at Let's Intern. Second one. Sonu, manager at Powerworld Fitness. Murugan Vasudevan, who is the South Asian head of social innovation. Shailam Inka, who's an entrepreneur. Smitu, who's the office assistant at Excellence School. And Meena Wilson, executive director of Genpact Center for Women's Leadership. And last but not the least, if I can have Deepak, who is the communicative English teacher in DB Tech. Please sit down. So I was talking to them this morning over breakfast, and they're very nervous. And they said, "Bade log aa rahe hain, mere ko thoda dar lag raha hai." So I was telling them, no, don't worry. At one stage in our lives, all of us went through this stage as well. And so, you should just be relaxed, confident. You guys are, somebody of you are actually a physical trainer, right? Yeah? So if you want to, in case you see the crowd sleeping, you can make them do some dips or whatever you feel like. Push-ups, okay? So we'd like to hear your stories to begin with, and maybe we'll start from you. A little bit about your introduction. What do you do? And just about your journey so far.
I'm Deepak. I'm coming from Chennai. I'm working as a communicative English trainer in Chennai. Even I was also a dropout candidate, and I was found by Quest and given training along with the placement. So that's the reason I'm here now. So I'm really thankful to Quest. Thank you.
Hi everybody. My name is Shailam Inpui. I'm from Nagaland, Dimapur. I came along with Cernily Powerworld organization. Thank you so much, Twitch Alliance.
Hello. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Sonu. I'm working as a fitness manager in Powerworld Finance Limited. I'm not familiar in English. Sorry to everyone.
So if Melvin and Sunil can help us in case they get stuck with the language. Yes. If I can have Melvin and Sunil, please.
Sorry. I'm a dropout candidate. Diploma dropout candidate. Automobile engineering second year. TVS lala work panna satisfied. Industrial pati theriyum ungalku full target achievement ellame ungalku theriyum. Full pressure jaasti ana ina idu chumma varom porom chumma academic kosra vela seirom solittu நம்ம அப்படி பண்றோம். என் career எனக்கே தெரியல, என் dream எனக்கே தெரியல. அப்பமாட்டுக்கு தான் Coastal Lines வந்து வீட்கிட்ட வந்தாங்க. இந்த மாதிரி கிளாஸ் இருக்கு. உன் career எல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லுவாங்க. கிளாஸ் கூட்டிட்டு போனாங்க. நோ இப்போ தெரியுது என்ன லைஃப் நான் சொல்லிட்டு இப்போ புரியுது எனக்கு. என் டெஸ்டினேஷன் கரெக்டாக போய் விட்டாங்க. தேங்க்ஸ் டு Coastal Lines. தேங்க் யூ.
Is it audible? Okay. Yeah, Sonu actually was a dropout student. So when he was pursuing diploma, he was a dropout student. He had no vision on what he wanted to do in his life. At that point of time, Quest Alliance, he met Quest Alliance, and Questalines gave a career path and what he want to do and what he wants to pursue. He had more vision when he came and enrolled into Quest Alliance. And from there on, I can clearly see my vision and what I want to pursue in my life. Thank you.
I am Ashwini from Bangalore. I am a fitness trainer in Powerworld gym. Even I am a dropout student. I had a Quest Alliance and so I am here.
I'm Smithu. I'm from Kerala. I'm working as office assistant in Auxilium School, Bangalore. I'd like to thank Custodians to give this opportunity for me. Really, I'm afraid to stand in a stage and facing so many people. I'm really thanks to Custodians to give an opportunity.
Okay, great. So let me tell you, this for many of you might be the first time on stage, but once you love the stage, you'll never want to leave the stage. Okay? We have too many people here who love the stage all the time. So thanks for being here, first of all, and sharing your story. I'd like to move to our seniors, and you all work with a lot of young people in the industry, and you keep hiring and you keep firing, and then you look at the variables and the skills. I just want to know what has been your experience so far working with young people, and we can start with you.
Okay, so I co-founded a website called Let's Intern, and as part of my introduction, I'm also a dropout student. At least I tried to drop out, and then my mother cried her way for me to go back to college. I wish I had dropped out. I would be a lot more successful in life. But then I kind of went through college, and what we did was, it was for people who were while in college and were studying. It was a platform for students to find meaningful, practical experiences and find jobs while still studying. And at some point, I think in 2015, we were the world's largest internship platform. And there were lots of learnings that came with that. So in terms of numbers, I would have facilitated more than, I think, 300,000 internships across all 57 cities in India. So there's been a lot of experience working with young people from all backgrounds. More recently, I've been more involved in the e-commerce industry. So I've worked with Lenskart, and I work with an automobile company called Cardeco, where there's lots of hiring and firing. We're in fact going through right now a little bit of a downturn, where thousands of people are getting, are given the pink slip. So, I mean, that's broadly the kind of stuff I want to talk about today. But, and we'll keep this conversation.
Sure. Okay.
So, hi, this is Murugan here from Cisco. Thank you all of you for being on stage. Let me tell you before we get started that if there's anyone that is nervous, it is this side of the table. Because we are never used to being put in front of people who are not like us, and we're used to talking in an echo chamber. Mm-hmm. So this is really, I was telling Abhijit that this is almost, I feel like I'm getting roasted here. Because this is very important, and I trust Quest to put people out of their comfort zone. Both of us in that position. But I'm not sure about you, Lezo. You seem very comfortable in this role.
I love the stage.
But yeah, thank you very much for all of you for being here and sharing your stories. When I see, back to your question, Lezo, when I see young people, I see a lot of hope, because the future that we're all going to inherit is going to be, we're all going to go into happier, healthier, more prosperous future. I'm an eternal optimist. That's absolutely going to happen. And this generation is getting the next generation on board with a lot of things that perhaps our generation or the generations before us did not have. So I see a lot of hope when I see young people come and join our organization, or when I meet them outside. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of, getting things done. They want to get things done, change the world. And as many of the examples that we heard from Sasha today, some of the companies that are changing the world are started by people who didn't go through the system. They were just regular people, just like all of you. So I see a lot of hope when I see young people today.
Thank you.
So I'm Meena Wilson, and I work with the Genpact Center for Women's Leadership. And I've only been doing that job for 1 year. And the idea there is to advance women in particular, but of course we have to advance men also, so that there's more gender equity, particularly in India. So I want to make this a very clear statement about young people. I genuinely believe in people who've had a dropout experience, who are not overeducated. Because my experience with overeducated people is that we all have a lot of ideas in our head, and those ideas we use to attack other people's ideas, and they attack us back. So I have a lot of faith in people, and so the important thing is for people, no matter who they are, to have belief in themselves and how you and us see the world. Self-belief is very important. I also want to mention that in the field of leadership development, whether you are a man, whether you're up there at 70, whether you're a young person of 10 or 11, leadership development is all about, we're all equal. We all have to learn how to listen. We all have to learn to resolve conflict. And so for me, this platform is a very important one to establish that we are actually all on the same platform when it comes to learning how to lead ourselves and how to lead others. We're very much on the same platform.
Okay, thank you. So I've heard Akash's wife is a design thinking person, and I'm thinking that she's designed the way we sit here, because they told us that they have to sit here and you have to sit here. And everything around us, especially the morning sessions that we looked at, whether it's education, whether it's skills, could be anything. There's a certain design to how we are educated and how we go to school, we get job placed, and then we finish our careers and so on. And I'm just trying to understand, because this morning session was so refreshing to see how technology is coming in, or how there are different patterns in the terms of education that we're trying to do and things like that. So I just want to know the future of industries in terms of young people. I'm just worried. For example, one of them were telling me this morning that you were telling me, right, that you were scared about technology. Can you just share your experience about the technology part? Okay.
என்ன கொஸ்டின் வைக்கலாம்னா, டெக்னாலஜி வளர்றது நல்லது தான் எல்லாருக்கும். டெக்னாலஜி வளர்றது நல்லது தான் எல்லாருக்கும். ரோபோட்ஸ் எல்லாம் நல்லது தான். பட் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி எல்லாம் ரோபோட் வந்துச்சுன்னா அப்போது ஹியூமன் பீயிங் எப்படி சர்வை பண்ணுறது? எங்களை மாஸ் மிடில் கிளாஸ் ஃபேமிலி வந்து எப்படி சர்வை பண்ணுறது? நெக்ஸ்ட்டு சாப்பாடுக்கு இப்போ லஞ்ச் சாப்பிட்ற டின்னருக்கு சாப்பிட்றது கூட வழி இல்லை எங்களுக்கு. இப்போ ரோபோட்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்துச்சுனாக்கா நம்ம ஹியூமன் பீயிங் நம்ம எப்படி சர்வை பண்ணுறது? இந்த வேர்ல்டு எப்படி சர்வை பண்ணுறது? ரோபோட்ஸ் வந்துச்சுன்னா வெறும் செக்யூரிட்டி ப்ளஸ் HR, CEO, வெறும் சேர்மேன் அண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டி தான் ஒர்க் பண்ண முடியும். ஜனங்க எங்கே ஒர்க் பண்ண முடியும்? கரெக்ட் தானே? எங்களுக்கு அதான் பயமாக டெக்னாலஜி. அப்போ நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ணுறது? ஜனங்க என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? காசு இருக்கிறவங்க வந்து அவங்க லைஃப் அவங்க பார்த்துன்னு போவாங்க. எங்களை மாதிரி நாங்கள் மிடில் கிளாஸ் ஃபேமிலி, நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? நாங்கள் வந்து சர்வை பண்ணோம், நாங்கள் லைஃப் லீட் பண்ணோம் நாங்கள். அப்போ நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ணுறது? இப்போ அதான் எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப பயமாகுது டெக்னாலஜி வருது.
So what is he telling is like technology, the growth of technology, it's good. I'm not telling it's not good. So, but what happens to people like us? I am coming from a middle class family, and when technology comes, it overtakes our jobs and stuff like that. So it affects us. And what will people like us will do if technology overtakes us? And we also have to survive. And technology might be good for like security purpose or for CEO, but for us, like how it affects our livelihood. So that's a fear I have for me. How will I survive in my career, in my future?
I think you're trying to say that your jobs are getting replaced because of technology. Machines will come in. And I think I'll just move it to this panel just to discuss. So it's only going to get stronger. It's only going to get bigger. And at this point of time, what is the advice that you'd give young people? Because I know that there's so many young people sitting there as well, just entered their job market. What do you think they should be doing right now?
So I guess as someone representing the technology company, I'll take a crack at it. These are real problems. So Sonu, what you are going through, it is very difficult. But you were a dropout, and now you are employed, right? So let me there's a little bit of context to all of this that we need to contextualize. As humanity, we continue to innovate and keep getting better at what we do. And this has been going on for many hundreds of years. From the Industrial Revolution to the technology revolution now. And the fear of losing something that we know how to do today is something that exists in almost every generation. The internet did not kill jobs. It was supposed to eliminate a lot of jobs. That was a fear. Postmen were not required. You could buy everything online. The stores were not needed. But people innovate, continue to innovate, and make lives better. So historically speaking, over the last hundreds of years, or even in the recent history, almost every country in the world, if you take all of the indicators, whether it is from child mortality all the way to employment to inequality, things have actually improved across the world, regardless of the fact that there have been many innovations that were feared to disrupt the way life was. So this is something that we need to, and I go back to Akash's quote, we need to unlearn what we learn and learn how to learn new things, because that is the only way that every generation is going to face that. And if anything, going forward, every generation is going to face that multiple times. I'm going to have to unlearn and relearn 3-4 times during my work life. So it's not a direct answer to you for your situation, but I think even if you reflect your own situation, you will see where were you, what were you doing now, and if you look at what Quest is doing, a lot of it is technology enabled. So if not for technology, how would they reach so many people? So that's another way of thinking about the positive aspects of technology and leveraging that way, right? So I'll give it to...
So I would say do not manufacture fears about something that may or may not happen and may or may not affect you. I think I would go back to the argument that has been made that if you are a learner and you keep learning, you will continue to do well. But I actually also want to put a bit of specificity around what it means to be a learner. To be a learner means you always have to be able to go to somebody and say, what am I doing right and what can I improve? What am I doing right and what can I improve? Once you have that connection, and when somebody says you are a buddhu, somebody says you are making too many mistakes, ask for help to keep improving. And then whenever you do anything, you're watching to see how the person is responding. Once you have become a learner in life, you never have anything to fear. Because even when you are quite a lot older like me, there are still so many things that I could be afraid of. I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what is this. But as long as I'm a learner, I will survive. So I want to enforce that.
Okay, I'll quickly say from a jobs economy sort of standpoint, it's a valid concern. A lot of things are changing. Let me give you some examples, right? So there's a current situation, there's a midterm situation, there's a long-term situation. In the current situation, what's happening is, so a lot of companies like ours, which are in e-commerce, one of the biggest sort of manpower areas was the call center or the operations of it. Now, increasingly what's happening is we're deploying chatbots, where 70% of your communication with the customer is all programmed. It's an algorithm that answers most of the queries. So where you were employing 1,000 call center executives, now you need 200 people. And these chatbots are very smart to be able to kind of answer, and they're only getting smarter. In the midterm, what's going to happen is, and we speak about this very often, so these are just assumptions, no one knows what's going to happen in the future. But today in a lot of jobs, especially in India, what most managers or people do is a lot of analytical stuff. So you'll open your Excel sheet and do everything, and there'll be data, and you'll come to a consensus and sort of conclusion of what to do in what situation. A lot of those jobs will become redundant in the midterm. And for India especially, the long term is this whole 3D printing, automation, and manufacturing that will come and sort of impact us in some way. But like, everybody's already spoken about, when all of these changes happen, it's not that jobs have gone, there are different kinds of jobs that are created. So there's some things that machines and technology will never be able to do. And that's, the human sort of sense of taking a gut call. And those kind of jobs will become increasingly more important and more available. So we'll actually become more human, hopefully in the future, with technology. That's just my sense.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go a little deeper now. See, there are so many people in this world trying to do good things. There's so many good organizations working with government, working with individuals, and yet there are still so many challenges that all of us keep facing. In your own personal lives, that you've struggled, you've dropped out of school, and there's so many programs, be it from when you were born to getting you jobs, to getting your careers. Where was the time that you thought someone should have come and spoken to you and guided you at that point of time? I mean, you guys are like 18 to 21 now, and you have jobs, and this is great. But if there was a time in your personal life, which was the time when you really needed an organization or someone to come and say, hey, buddy, I know you're struggling in life. I want to help you. I want to get you out of this. And, which was that time in your life? Do you want to share with us?
Once I have done my UG, so my dream was for to become a person who has to work in TCS. So TCS was my ambition for that time. After I've done my UG, so I saw a few trainers. So in that time, I really wants to become a trainer that time. So I was searching where I will get. So I asked a trainer who was working in TCS itself. So he just teased me. First you get into TCS, then you may become a trainer. So in that point, someone who really helped me to become a trainer. So in that point, I'm really lucky, I think so. That is. If I have no problem, can I mention his name?
Yes, please.
So he's Dilip Sai, who is a communicative English trainer in DB Tech, so in Tamil Nadu. So because of him, I got my ambition or my dream to get success.
Great. I think DB Tech deserves a round of applause from all of us. Yes, sorry, please. And so I'm looking more at a point where, when you were looking for something and you didn't get it, okay, right? You wished there was an organization or there was an education or, something that was the missing link for many of us, because we're doing a lot of things and we're always in a hurry, but sometimes you miss the crucial points of it. And at that point of time, you wish that there was an organization or there was something that could have been there for you.
Okay, when I was a child, I was not knowing the value of money. And then this money really was giving me elation. When I was in class 1, the cost of class 1 was only 100 rupee or 1,000 rupee per year. And when I came to class 2 and class 3, the value of money kept increasing. So my parents were compelling. When I reached class 5, they told me, you have reached class 5. You can read ABC, you can write ABC, so you can stop now and help the parents. But then I was disagree with all those things. I was disagree with the proposals. So I continued the studies. I started class 6, 7, and then the same problem arises. When I complete my 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade, the same problem, they keep on continuing saying that you can discontinue it because we have plenty of works in the field or in the firms. So I was really disappointed. But then when I was with my students, with my classmates, I think that I have to continue, I have to keep going on my ways. So I keep studying, and then when I reach class 12, still they are proclaiming that you will be useless, you will get nothing. So you better help your parents because they grow old and become, older and older. So they were curious about all those things. But then I was not agreeing with all those things. So when I pursue my graduation in BCom in my college, they totally forbidden me. So my parents totally forbidden me. I have nothing. So when I was in first semester, I started driving autos, someone else's auto. I earned hardly 200 rupees per day. And then I have to pay the owner of the auto 300 rupees daily. That was in 2012. And I kept on studying like this. I kept my life journey like this. And then after 2012, after 2013, and then after 2014, when I completed 14, I hardly came across my BCom degree. So I was grateful that my Lord is really with me. And after which, I started looking for government jobs. But then due to low percentage, I was not unable to find a job. I have been in Delhi for 1 week, for 2 weeks, but then I couldn't find any appropriate jobs for me. So I went off again to Uttarakhand for army, for clerk post. But then they say that you have to be in an army rifleman. So I rejected their suggestion. And then I came back in Dimapur, and then I started thinking, what should I be done? What should I be doing? What is my future? So after which, after becoming 2015, I started my plan. I learned BCom, and I have little knowledge about calculation. So I started planning about microfinance. So I have no money in my pocket. I don't have anything. I have only one very old auto. So I sold that auto for only 10,000 rupees. So with that 10,000 rupees, I was starting microfinance. That was in 2013, September, October. So after which, I kept on doing all those business, and then after one year, I can earn around 4.50 lakhs, 4 lakhs and 50,000. So when I found that I have earned this much, I started extending I have no land. So I bought a land of 2 lakhs in Dimapur. And after which, I started building a small house. That house cost me 3.42 lakhs. And then this year, by the grace of God, I was able to come across all this pro-rural organization that was situated in city tower Dimapur itself. So with the help of all those things, they give me a training of poultry farming. They give me a training in mushroom cultivation. So I have been doing this in 2017. I have been practicing poultry farming and then mushroom cultivation. That's how I came here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Inka. Thanks for sharing your story. I mean, the story is inspirational, right? With no money, and then now you have mushrooms and chickens. I hope you can bring some chickens tomorrow for lunch. But on the more serious note, I come from the same state, and I saw the picture in the morning about the queue of people standing in government jobs, because the challenge for us in the Northeast, we don't have industries. There's a lot of stereotyping still about the conflict issues there. There are no companies, there are no industries, there's no manufacturing. There's nothing there for us. And so Inka's story is so powerful because there's thousands of young people like Inka, and we're just grateful to different organizations that come to the Northeast and that work with us. So thank you for sharing your powerful story, okay? And chicken tomorrow, right, for lunch? Yeah? Okay, sure. So we'll move to you if you want to share any story where you think that, you want someone? He doesn't speak the language, but he talks the most, I think. Please. Okay, so the question is, where did you struggle once and you wished someone was there to help you? I mean, because we're doing a lot of, be it education, whether it's skill training, we do a lot of programs, but you feel like at one point of time, if there was someone to help you?
I have dropped my 8th or ninth class. In my high school, I dropped out. I work as housekeeping. I work housekeeping. Where IT company, software company, restroom. I was working. I used to cry. Lord, why? What happened to me? What happened to me? Is anything wrong with me? Like that, I was keep asking for myself. Then one day I met my friend. His name called Manoj. He told that, Ray, what are you are doing this job, housekeeping job, like mopping and cleaning the toilet of men and women. They were telling like that. I cried a lot with him until, please help me out. Okay, I have an idea. We can write 10th exam. If we pass, we can go college. Or if we fail, we can go as a driver. Nowadays, for license, they are asking 10th certificate. 10th pass or fail certificate, they keep on asking. Then I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot, and then I passed 10th exam. I passed. I don't even study at 10th. I don't even know which lesson come from.
Okay.
I don't know everything. I don't know anything.
I hope your mother's not here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know anything. But thank God I have passed 6 subjects and I have went a diploma in automobiles. Then I completed that. Then I got job in TVS Honda. I worked in TVS Honda and Yamaha. Now I am working in a Powerworld Fitness Center as a manager. I want to thank my friend Manoj, who helped me in that point. I'm thinking, I'm thanks to that Manoj. Thank you.
Even I dropped out my diploma second year. That time I was feeling very somewhat like crying. That time no one says me to study or what. I was everyone was saying says that you are not studying. That like that they were saying, and I was crying and I was sitting in home. Then I was thinking I cannot study only like that. Then I heard coastal lines and went there. They gave they teach us English. I cannot speak very well English also. They teach us very well, and now I am working in a Powerworld fitness trainer as an instructor. Thanks for coastal lines. Thank you.
After finishing my degree, that time my family undergoes a very big financial crisis. I am the elder one in my family. I used to think I want to help my family, but I don't have any job like that. Then I speak with sisters. They only train me. Then they only give me work. Now I can help my family. I can support them. Thanks to sisters.
Thank you. Yeah, so thanks for being bold and sharing your stories. I'm going to go to ask questions and answers in like 5 minutes, but before we do that, I just want to check with them. You know, for all of them, they've fought through their journey and they're here today because of, you know, their dedication and vision to be here. I just want to know, what can industry do? You know, how do we create spaces for young people to engage in conversations, to shout out when we're in despair, to look for friends, because many of them are lucky they had certain interventions. But there must be thousands of young people there who do not know where to go to. They're going under depression, they're doing drugs, they could be doing so many things which are not useful. How do we create the spaces for young people, correlate them to industry which will set them to be successful? And that's something I want to hear from the 3 of you.
No, thanks for sharing all your stories. It's very powerful, very moving, and it's very difficult, but it's real. You're just 5 of you here representing, millions out there. the question you asked, Les, was a very difficult one as well. And industry, by virtue of how companies are constructed and who our stakeholders are, the short-term focus for industries and companies typically end up being our products, our solutions, our people, and our immediate neighborhood stakeholders that we may see. And I think this is where perhaps we could say that the Companies Act and what the intention of the Companies Act with the CSR Act coming through is probably a very important nudge in a not so simple way, by saying, as industry, we have to really step up and do more than look at our quarterly revenues and earnings. So I think, in a way that's, it's been a good move in the right direction. Hopefully, numbers indicate we have $2 to $3 billion in the CSR pool, which is still a very fraction of the number of what the government spends in education and healthcare. So it's not that industry can operate in by itself or even as a confederation of industries, but it has to be with the government. And this is where, if you talk about Northeast or some of the other states that we have representations here from, as a corporate, as a CSR, there are certain things that you can do. You can work with 1 school, 10 schools. If you're really lucky, you can work with 1,000 schools. But you really have to create that environment where corporates, nonprofits, government, all work together, because without all 3 of them working together, this is, it's going to be not a sustainable way to scale. So industry, we have to do a lot more, and hopefully the Companies Act is helping create a platform for us to do a lot more and highlighting some of these issues. And as government also has to step up and help the industry to really reach out and really fix some of these problems that are fixable. Education is fixable. We have solutions. These students are examples that there are solutions that can be in very difficult cases. The stories that we heard, very incredibly difficult story, but he's here today, which means there is a solution. And I think, we need to create sustainability for these solutions. That's where I think the government angle also comes in, right?
Okay, sorry. So I've been kind of in the middle of this a little bit, where there's industry and there's people. And I believe that unless there is value for industry, it's all good to do. They won't. What you need to do is build models where it works for industry and it is worth their time. Otherwise, it'll just become a CSR activity, which is kind of shoved in a corner saying we want to help, but we don't know how. We're too busy doing our stuff. Students at large always need help at various stages. Anybody who has overbearing parents will always need help, right? So, I mean, what they're saying is not just a particular segment, it's across. We've all faced, parents putting their aspirations, thrusting it down, and people are confused. Some of the people I know who've been to the best institutions, have had the most exposure, have made wrong career choices and regretted that 5 years down the line, and had to start afresh. So these problems are systematic. So I'll give you an example of how we worked around some of this, right? So when we were doing internships, it was very difficult to find the right talent at the right time, at the right place. So, and also it was very difficult to convince organization industry to kind of hire college students. And this whole model wasn't working too well. So we said, let's try and flip the model. We said if someone in Dimapur, for example, wants to work for a company in Delhi, how do we facilitate that? And we came up with something called a virtual internship, where somebody had to log in for 10 hours a week, wherever they were on a computer and internet. And by doing that, there were tasks that were given, they would finish them, and they would clock their time. And for that, they got 2,000 rupees a month, right? Pretty simple. So what this gave access to industry was, I will get, for 2,000 rupees, somebody who will work 40 hours a month, and some of my tasks can be outsourced. Works fantastically. There's no time restriction. There's no location. And I have access to everybody, right? So suddenly this whole pool of students unlocked. And students were being very innovative. So people were doing five internships, and they were earning 10,000 a month. And they could do this at their convenience, right? So they would do this 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. or early morning before they went to college. So we need to find models where industry can find value and therefore they want to participate. If you expect industry to be forthcoming, I don't see it happening in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
I'm pretty optimistic about what the future holds in this sense, partly, as Murugan said, that Companies Act in 2014 has made companies operating in India aware that they must contribute their CSR monies, and that's a substantial source of funding to make sure that as the boat rises, everybody rises with that. So I think particularly as India emerges on the global scene and wants to become like a mega nation, you can't be that one of those kinds of nations unless you're taking care of everybody who's a part of your society. And there are business opportunities that are being created at every level, and I think the young people in general are leading that. So fortunately, I think pretty much to advance, we have to get rid of our old mindsets that say, you know, they have to be class differences, they have to be rural and urban differences. Some of those differences are diminishing. I agree that some of them are escalating, but we will not survive as a society unless we learn to work with each other. So in general, I'm positive that the resources for people to come up are going up. So that's where I would say that it is important to stay encouraged about the future.
All right.
So I have a question for all the young people here, and feel free to ask the person to translate for you if you want. You all have already finished studying at one point. You finished learning with Quest Alliance. Now you all are working. Do you feel the need to continuously learn? Like, do you want to continue learning? And that's one question, and anybody can answer, please. And the other is, do you feel the need for guides? Like somebody helped you at that point, right? All of you had examples. Do you feel the need for someone to guide you to be part of your continuous journey? You've heard the panel tell you that it has to be continuous learning. So what is your experience, or what is your expectation? Is the question clear? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So you need mentors all throughout your life, like just to continuously guide you? What do you think? I think that's the question.
Yeah, we have to keep on learning because the world is very wide and large. So everyone is updating themselves. So in order to survive into this world, in this competitive world, we have to keep on learning. So learning, it will not be changed. So we have to be learning. Absolutely. In every point, everyone needs someone at their back to push them a step forward. It may be their parents, someone from their office, anyone, friends. It may be anyone. So, but a mentor is it is needed. He or she, it is needed in order to become more successful.
Okay.
So in your learning also, you think that you need a guidance for you to learn more?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. So I'll just move to the next question. Yeah.
Hi, my question is to the industry side actually. The CSR law typically does not allow companies to utilize or invest money in something that might, in some convoluted route, end up benefiting them. So perhaps if you're investing money in training people who are going to join your company, you can't do that, it's not allowed. So I'm thinking, are there any mainstream solutions? I mean, just relaxation of the entry level criteria for people, who are coming from the rural or peri-urban parts of the country? Are there any mainstream solutions such as on-the-job training that we are thinking of? Because if this is how hard the situation is, and if you're talking about 243 million adolescents in this country, it's not even people who are young and in the working population, just people in 10 to 19 age group, I think we need to be a lot more empathetic to what's going on out there and not just create foot soldiers, perhaps for the malls or for call centers. And the call centers are a good example to show that on-the-job training can convert you from a driver to somebody who can earn a lakh of rupees a month. So I'm just wondering, because you are the thought makers in your respective industries, is there some thought leadership that you are investing in for mainstream solutions, not CSR?
Okay. So I think I go back to what I said about the structure in which companies operate, right? So we've been operating within a structure, our own governance structure, and every company pretty much operates within a certain area. If I take Cisco, for example, we make routers, switches, hardware devices, and some software, and hence our talent requirement is within that range, that sphere. But we need to take a step back and see where our products are being used. So again, if I take my own company, Reliance Jio, for example, is completely built on Cisco. Now, what is Jio enabling? Jio is enabling internet access today, as of today, to about 355 million, not Jio. In India, we have 355 million people online. So as companies, we have to take a step back and see what the impact of our product is and not just limit ourselves to our particular SKUs that we create. And then that's where I think the Companies Act comes into the picture. It may be hard for me to give a direct employment or internship within Cisco, but you're right, we need to find solutions in the larger ecosystem on how I can find internships, perhaps through platforms like Mike was talking about, or jobs or exposure to the industry. And I don't particularly think there's a solution yet, because every company operates within our own sphere, and we look for our own staffing requirements, and that is a very limited pool, as you know, that doesn't cover the millions of people that perhaps need exposure in other industries. But we all have to take a step back and look at the larger picture in society, because it's a fact that a more prosperous society means all companies thrive. So it's our responsibility to then make sure that the society prospers, not just our little pool of talent that we need in our world. So that's about as much as I can answer from my side. Maybe Mike, if you heard any stories on the...
Maybe I'll ask Mike to take the other question then. If there's one more question, or you'd like to continue with this?
We could take another question.
Yeah, let's take another question.
What's CSR?
Apprenticeships, and right now there has been a resistance from industry to take apprenticeships as part of their not CSR but also allocate job roles for apprenticeships. So I think that, to me, even if we can start, each industry can taking more people as apprenticeships, that can really start that process of industries more proactively doing it and following the law and being compliant and so on. So that's just a suggestion.
I'll take one last question. You wanted a question, right?
I had a question that what's happening internationally and even nationally, the keeping young people in jobs is a difficult thing. But is there any possibility of us to negotiate with industry as a sector to say that, it's also cutting cost. It's like home-based work, Finally, you're just giving home-based work because it's cutting the corner of, you're not looking at what's the cost of electricity, you're not giving location, you're cutting costs. How can we negotiate? Is there a possibility of negotiation in any of these things so that we can, wherever we are putting our young people and the amount of investment all of us are doing in young people, industry values, but also values at a term that we can actually have a dialogue about?
Industry has no choice but to respond to the needs of young people who are saying that, look, I want you to invest in me and help me grow as a future potential employee. Otherwise, I'm not going to stick around. And in fact, there are so many opportunities, actually, whether they are apparent or not, there are many opportunities. So industry has to keep talent and has to meet the necessities of that talent to keep it. I also want to emphasize that people have always wanted that. It's I don't think the older generation likes boring jobs. I don't think people don't want to be developed, but people were willing to live with that. And now people are not willing to live with that. And actually, that's a good sign that we're asking for more for ourselves, we're asking for more for our families, and that's a good sign.
In fact, industry needs talent more than talent needs industry. And that's the fact. The problem is, industry doesn't want to work hard, or you can't make their life more difficult. So what they expect for you to do is package it, do the hard work, give them a fully baked solution which they can just take and say, yeah, this works for me. And that's where the problem is. And there's huge room for negotiation. So you've got to be very creative and innovative in how you package that talent or a program or a solution. The second thing is, and I've seen personal success with that, is you've got to let them sample success. So I'm okay to get them to take a few interns or get really bright guys and show potential of what can happen. So the fact of the matter is, in India today, internships is a joke, right? There's no real structure, or it's my friend's nephew, therefore I will do a favor. Most organizations don't have a structured internship program. And it's a battle to convince them to start one. But the minute they see value in that, and value could be, as simple as sampling different talent pools, right? So right now you've been recruiting from a certain college, a certain profile, and how's that worked out for you? Not so great. How about I just sample 3 people from a very different background and see how they work out? Give it 6 months. So you've got to find whatever is required in that particular moment, and you package it, and there's huge scope for negotiation, and you'll be surprised how much they're willing to pay for good talent.
Great, thank you. Big round of applause to all of them. I mean, this is a conversation that could go on and on, but I think while technology is coming, there's a lot of optimism as well. I mean, if you look at companies like Facebook, just creative thinking and connecting people, I don't know how many people they employ as well, 100,000 people across the world. And so I think the future could be creative thinking and to understand how they can add value to industry and look at both sides to be partners in this growth together. I just want to thank all of you for being on this panel. Okay, we still love the 3 of you, don't worry. Okay, and all 5 of you, okay, for your just for coming out and being bold and representing a large population of the country. We are proud of you, and thank you very much.